I played trumpet from the age of 8, so in many different big bands. For example, that was a big part of my school playing, and then throughout university and also at junior conservatoire, and then I did a master's in jazz for senior conservatoire in London. So yeah, I always had a big interest in jazz. I've worked in some different areas, but more recently came back to jazz and sort of entering the Berlin scene, playing in a lot of the jams and meeting a lot of musicians. And I met the band pianist Felix, and we played together. And then I met some other musicians and we formed the band.
It was actually a Facebook group where Matthew and we met there. Originally we started discussing about electronic music and how to be able to combine both electronic influences and directly like active musician parts, and to bring it together to create something new.
The main influence on the band, I would say a lot of 1960s, 1950s jazz from the US. I'm also influenced by Chick Corea, Herbie Hancock, and kind of the interesting compositions they did with a lot of sus harmonies. It's kind of jazz fusion as well. I think also the Brecker brothers, Michael Brecker, his individual stuff as well. And then in terms of trumpeters, a lot of influences, so I'd say more modern influences, so going back to the 80s, maybe starting the 80s, Wynton Marsalis, Roy Hargrove, Terence Blanchard, and I think they all did very, very interesting compositions for me. Harmonically, the variety of styles that they did, Wynton Marsalis in the 80s, married modern jazz a lot with his original music, St. Louis, kind of blues, swing, I would say, but very individually styled. But also he played with Herbie Hancock, doing a lot of very interesting modal tunes. So that kind of complete openness to styles, I think, hugely influenced me. We have numerous drum bass jungle compositions, which kind of quite personal to me. Growing up in London, early 2000s, I was very, very influenced by that sound, which was very much still alive then and kind of coloured the city. I really enjoy collaborating with the band because I think they have a lot of different styles. I kind of met them all personally before they joined the band, so it's quite a good atmosphere with the guys. I mean, they're all very, very good musicians. Shinichi Nakajima, our drummer, is very accomplished with the drum bass jungle grooves and really enjoys playing it. And then with Ben, who's a very, very seasoned veteran of the Berlin scene and very versatile, and is playing different styles, including free, jazz, and lots of other styles, and really adapted well to the album.
You can also feel the versatility and the experience all the players have. So it's easy to take off and go to different places, and when you hear what the others play and what ideas they introduce, and then move it a bit further, and then they react, and it's a kind of upward spiral, and playing together and enjoy the process.
I'd followed Robert Cummings, who we recorded the album with here at Hot Milk Studios. Then a friend of mine, Lino Haas, a jazz pianist, had just recorded there, and I saw some of the social media on that, and it was really a perfect place to record our second album, Wishes. A lot to say about it, but it was actually a very, very smooth process. We did it in a day and a half. It was a very productive session. I mean, I was ready for the short time frame, but I think we had good discussions before each tune. We knew exactly what we wanted to do. We even rehearsed a couple of the tunes.
It was a really intense session because we have to set up really quickly. And we want to, I think, record 6 songs, I believe. And that's a lot, usually for one day. If you get 4, it's already a great accomplishment. So 6 is a lot. And I think that's why we moved a few things to the second day. So just let's try it again. Sort of the day where you, at the end of it, you go, oof, I'm going to go to bed early. But we want these challenges and we want to see what happens. It was really like a classic jazz session where the musicians play together. They hear what the other soloist is doing, respond to his ideas, develop the ideas, and it's the sort of stuff that I really like doing. Lots of overdubbing can be really tedious, you can get perfection, but it seems everyone can get perfection, and there's a lot of perfection in music. The whole human interplay is a thing we have to go back to.
I think it's always good to listen back with a little bit of distance, because when we recorded it, everybody's really involved, and also sometimes self-criticism kicks in because you really want it to be perfect. But then with a little bit of space in between, and it really, it's a nice album. I really enjoyed it.
I kind of came up with the compositions more or less all at the start of 2025, and then we rehearsed them, we even previewed them at several gigs. It's a kind of interesting selection of tunes, so Waiting, drum bass number, kind of evolved as we went on. It became quite a fast drum bass number. We kind of inserted some interesting harmony into it, such as the kind of sharp 11 chords, and really developed our soloing over it, because it's quite a new style to really improvise over a drum bass at 185 BPM, almost like a sort of fast swing tempo. And then several of the other tunes, Anniversary, we'd kind of prepared over several months. Questions was a new ballad. Grandad was actually an older tune, one of the first I composed, which is a very personal composition to me, which kind of reflects my very close relationship with my late grandfather. We wanted to get that on an album, and it was the perfect opportunity. And then Always Happy started out as more of a hip-hop produced composition, and we actually did a produced version of that in the studio I rehearse in, and then obviously the band members put some live playing over that, and also myself with the trumpet. It kind of developed into this live hip-hop number featuring a long piano solo. It's kind of like the feature of it, with some kind of trumpet improvisation at the start, and that's really developed into crowd favour actually at some of the recent gigs we've performed that at.
My favorite song was actually Grandad. It's a slower tune, a ballad, and I really like the harmonic tweaks and places it goes in a harmonical way, and it really speaks to me. I really like it.
Drum and bass, for example, that's one of the genres that I always really liked when it came out as an electronic music genre in the 90s, because it's really playful, creative, surprising, probably more so than other electronic music genres. And being a drummer too, of course, there's lots happening, usually lots of syncopations, lots of surprises, and that's sort of a thing that I always liked.
As well as the album launch, we're doing a gig at the B Flat in June, which we cordially invite you to. We're doing several other gigs, at least one gig every month until July.
Looking forward to play the album launch at the Schlot concert, and also I like the listeners to enjoy the album and our music we made together, and enjoy the ride.
We're integrating some new compositions in, and I think the material of the band will continue to evolve. Just looking forward to performing at some really top venues in Berlin, and I hope you enjoy the album.